Shouting out your destiny. It's not impossible to not tolerate anymore.
Greetings, good people. My name is Simon Okelo, and I'm the executive director and founder of One Vibe Africa. One Vibe is a non-profit organization that was founded in Kenya. I was a DJ for about 7 years before we turned One Vibe into a non-profit organization after the post-election violence that happened in Kenya in 2007, 2008. I'm in Seattle right now at Cafe Avole, and I'm with a respected member of our African community. His name is Ken, and he's going to, share a little bit about his story and how he ended up in Seattle with you. Ken, how are you today?
Doing very good.
Excellent. So, the first time we met was at Miss Kenya, Washington State, pageant, and we were both judges. And that's when I learned about the work that you've done in the community. I was surprised that everybody knew you. So I was like, this big bro, I have to spend a little more time with him. And today we are really privileged to learn a little bit about how you ended up in Seattle. When did you arrive here?
My name is Ken Mulwa, like you said. I came here in 1988.
Okay.
I was a grown man. I didn't come here to go to school. I'd already gone to college by then.
Okay.
I went to school in the UK.
Okay.
I came here, actually it was because of a girl.
A girl?
Yes, we met in a cafe.
An African girl?
Kenyan, yes.
Ah.
We met at a cafe at my office building. In Kaggen House. People who know where Kaggen House is.
Is that in London or here?
No, in Nairobi.
In Nairobi.
On Harambee Avenue.
Ah.
So
nice.
we met there. We dated for about a year, and she had lived here for 10 years.
Yeah.
She had come here right after high school, so she didn't even know anything about Nairobi or Kenya in general.
Yeah.
And after dating, she said, "You know what? I would like to take you where I've lived for a long time, where I know very well.
Yeah.
And if you like it, we can start a family there."
So when was this? When was this?
Nice. So we met in 1987.
Okay.
And we met in the beginning of 88, and I came here towards the end of 1988. Actually, I left Nairobi on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
I'm a Libra. I'm not going to say the date.
Excellent. So you left Nairobi, went to London, right?
No, I came straight to London.
Straight to Seattle?
Yes.
Okay. Now, right now the situation is slightly different.
Totally different. Yes.
How was it? Let's say the day you arrived. Can you describe how it looked like?
It was October, just like it is now.
Yeah.
And the day I arrived, I do remember there was a big party with Kenya, with pilots.
Yeah.
They were here to pick up our first 767 planes, if you remember them. There was about maybe 15 or 18 of them were here training for that flight. 5 of them were my classmates in high school. One of them being a school captain.
So where did you go to school in Kenya?
I went to 2 high schools. Machakos High School and Upper Hill. That's where I did my 2 year of O-level and 5 and 6.
Excellent. Now, you've watched Seattle and our people in Seattle grow and thrive, and things change. And lately there's this issue of gentrification, which has moved our people to Tacoma, Lakewood, Everett. What's your perspective about this? Where do you think most of our people are at the moment? And, what do you think is pushing them out of Seattle or far away from Seattle?
It's for obvious reasons. I think mostly economic. And as we grow, obviously, our needs change. It's actually amazing how I've watched Kenyan community grow, especially here in Seattle. When I came here, we were about 200 of us, and I'm counting grown-ups and children. And I would invite you to my house for a party, and I know the rest of the team will know that way, and the rest of the team will know this way. Nowadays, you don't even want to say where you live.
Why is that?
because we've grown, it's a bigger community. And when you say you have a party in your house, then you're not going to have enough room. You're going to end up having problems with the police or just attracting the wrong crowd. To the point about growing out of the city now is Seattle has become very expensive compared to when I came here. I lived about 2 blocks from here when I arrived here, and I was just telling somebody here, the audience, that the first 2 nights I couldn't sleep. This road Rainier was a lot of sirens, the police, the ambulance, the fire trucks.
Yeah, this Rainier Avenue.
Oh yes, shootings, and I was like, where did I come to? You know. But I get used to it. In a week, I was good to go, and I adapted it so fast.
So what job did you do around the first time that you came?
Job. Now, when I came here, I was obviously not allowed to work. I was a visitor, and like everybody else, we all tried to sneak in and do things that you're not supposed to. I do remember this is a very interesting one. I had to make up a social security number, and I picked up numbers, area code Nairobi, Machakos, my home, and Mombasa, so I don't forget it. You know, and it's not like nowadays where you have to produce a card. Those days they just used to tell you to say the number. So as long as I remember those area codes, I was fine. It wasn't hard to get a job. You would work in one place today, don't like it, tomorrow you quit and work the next door. Nowadays, you don't want to spoil where you are.
Thank you. Now, if you had an opportunity to advise, someone who is just arriving in Seattle, whether it's from Kenya, Nigeria, Ethiopia, a young man who is trying to live, a straightforward life, what one advice would you give them?
First and foremost, in every foreign country you go to, it's to look for your community. There's always a group of people who are very conversant with what goes on, who are willing to help. They'll show you the way for free. They nurture you, and it's a nurturing that will determine how you end up staying in the place, how you're gonna adapt to the place. I mean, based on how I was nurtured here, it worked out for me. And I've always said to myself, since somebody did good to me, I will have to pay back to other people. There's somebody who told me when I was in England that everywhere you'll ever go, it will never be your relative who helps you. It's always a stranger, somebody you've never seen, and it's true. I tend to help people that I don't know better than my family, and I think it is very true.
Well, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to, have this short conversation with me. I'm sure we will be having you back here again. And, to our audiences who are watching, whether you're watching from Seattle, Nairobi, you name it, we are on One Vibe TV. You can subscribe on YouTube. And we will be back in Cafe Avole next Friday for another Avole night. Asante sana.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Greetings, good people. This is Simon Okelo with One Vibe Africa, and you're watching One Vibe TV. I'm really privileged to have Karen Okonkwo with me. She's the co-founder of Tonal, and I work with a lot of photographers and videographers, but I haven't really delved deep enough into stock photography. And so, knowing that I'll be having this conversation with you forced me to read about you, and I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want you to describe to us, first of all, how you decided to collaborate with, your partner. What's his name?
Joshua Kissy.
Joshua.
Yes.
Give us, just a rundown of how it all started.
Well, it all started from a blog that I started with my sorority sisters called The Sorority Secrets. And on this particular site, we were sharing best kept secrets of women who are in sororities. from fashion to beauty to health and wellness to home decor, all of that. And we were getting a lot of attention because we were creating our own content that was very relevant. And one of my friends here, actually in Seattle, African American, so he asked me why we didn't showcase people of color on our site. And that challenged me because I disagreed with him. I said, no, that's not true. We definitely have people of color. I went to our site, I went to our social media, and he was right. And so in my embarrassment, I'm African American, I wanted to clear that and fix that very quickly. So I went online just to try and find just women of different ethnic backgrounds in sororities, and I could not find any imagery. And that really haunted me for a very long time. Even when the sorority secrets fizzled out, it still was in the back of my mind. I thought, wow, do we still have a deficit when it comes to diverse imagery online? So flash forward, one of my very best friends, her name is Diaspora. She's Ethiopian. She lives here in Seattle, or did at the time. And she started dating Joshua Kissy. Joshua Kissy is Ghanaian, and he co-founded a creative agency called Street Etiquette.
And we're having Ghanaian food, so
yes,
shout out to Joshua.
Shout out to Nigerian jollof, being better than Tomato. Thank you. I said it. Yes, I said it.
Okay. The problem is that Kenya has Githeri that is probably better than So we'll
table that. Okay. But I saw how amazing his images were, and it just sparked an idea in my mind. I'm like, let me ask him if he would ever be interested in doing stock photography to combat the deficit of diverse imagery online. So,
can I ask you for a favor?
Yeah.
Let's break down what
stock
photography is, especially for our people, because growing up in Africa, there were so many white people with cameras in the ghettos and everywhere taking pictures.
Oh my gosh.
And where these pictures went until now, you can't know. So this is something that could be enlightening for people who are probably watching.
Mm-hmm. So stock photography is imagery that you buy online and you use it editorially or commercially. Editorial use could be a part of a blog. It could be a part of a news article. It could be a part of a flyer. Commercially is when you're actually using it for financial gain, whether it is used on a billboard or if it's used in a magazine to sell a product. And so to allow people to create some sort of correlation, it's kind of like Shutterstock and Getty Images. So if you're familiar with those household names, it's similar, except for we actually showcase people of different ethnic backgrounds and abilities and sexual orientations and everything. Basically, we showcase what the world really looks like. So upon bringing this idea to Josh, we initially didn't want to do it. And then because of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling being murdered by police and their stories of who they were being tarnished, we decided that we wanted to take back the narratives of our people and actually show them in their true light, in the beautiful light that we know these people to be. And so we ended up launching Tonal in August of 2017. And here we are.
I know, when we first started interacting, I'm familiar with Okonkwo because of Chinua.
Yes.
So I just knew that this is an amazing Nigerian lady who is helping us out.
Thank you.
By the way, thank you for all the help with our fundraising events that you put blood, sweat, and tears into.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. But now I want us to even go a little back further.
Okay.
How did you end up in the United States of America?
Yes. So I was born here. I was actually born in San Diego, California.
Oh.
And a lot of people don't know that. They think I was born in Nigeria.
Yeah, me too.
But let me tell you, I had a feeling. My voice should give it away. But you know what? My parents did a very good job of keeping us connected to our culture.
Yeah.
So I never fell short of knowing where I was from and celebrating that.
Yeah.
And I especially became more connected to my Nigerian roots in my 20s, to be honest. I got more in tune with more people like me. I grew up in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood. So I found that I was always striving to be with people that looked different, but I also understood where I was in. I was in suburbia, I was around a lot of Caucasian people. So being in my adulthood, I was able to create a more diverse circle, predominantly of a lot of African people. So it helped me to connect better with my roots.
Man, I was saying earlier, I knew you as Karen Okonkwo, and I was like a community member. But now I'm a fan. I follow your work because you're traveling all over the place.
Yeah.
And it seems that going by the story of your parents, ingraining in you guys the importance of your roots and your culture, and then you coming and basically volunteering, because the amounts that you've charged us to help us with our events have been quite amazing. It seems that supporting your community is important.
Very important. Yeah.
Why is this?
I think for me, I look at opportunity, and I know and understand that history has oppressed a lot of Black people. Whether you want to call yourself African or not, we're all from Africa. And in knowing that we have been oppressed and suppressed, I always want to find avenues to uplift us, because Jay-Z said this very famous quote. He said something like, "The world doesn't move without us." In so many words is what he said, and it's true. We are the gateway to a lot of opportunities, but I found that a lot of other, ethnic backgrounds have capitalized on our talents. And so in any way that I can uplift the community and try to educate and get people to a level that is competitive, I'm all for that. I know that I was put here on this earth to care for people and to help people, and so I really am just living out my purpose.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, there's always this tension between Africans and African Americans.
Yes.
There's a level of, I don't know you guys very well, but I know we came from the same place.
Yeah.
We share ancestry. What opportunities have you had to collaborate with African Americans? Of course, you have a longer history with them because you're born in the U.S.
Yes.
But with One Vibe, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of African Americans, and I have a lot of good friends in the African American community. If you start counting people like Hirim, Black Stacks, the list goes on. People like At Borders, just a ton of people. But there is always still tension.
Yes, totally agree.
Where does this tension come from?
Well, one day I was sitting with one of my Haitian friends, and I was actually kind of complaining about that. And I said, why do you think this is the case? And she stopped me and she said, Karen, you have to remember that no matter what, you have a culture that you can tie back to. You have a land where you come from. And a lot of these people have made up cultures in America, but essentially their spirit is kind of lost in that sense. And so there's a little bit of this resentment, whether it's subconscious or conscious, that I feel a lot of African Americans feel. And just recently I was talking to Lovey, and there was a woman in London who had gotten a role for a particular film, and a group of African Americans were upset that it was given to a British person, as opposed to an English Black American. And this uproar was caused, and people started to get upset with Lovey because she knew this person. Lovey is actually an author. She is a motivational speaker. She's funny. She lives in Chicago. She actually has this podcast with Yvonne Orji called Jesus and Jollof. And, she just really is a great orator, basically. And she's an advocate for a lot of people in the African and African American communities. And it was really disappointing because she thought, shouldn't we all be happy that we're just getting this opportunity? We're all African, and unfortunately, a lot of the backlash she was getting is, you guys are, taking opportunities from us, Black people. We need to shut off Africans, and we need to create our own paths. And I'm like, if I can just give anyone advice, I don't care what ethnic group you fall under, you're never going to progress when you are constantly shutting out other races, other ethnic backgrounds. Because really, I think the general message is that we need to work together. And I think that a lot of Africans are paving the way, but we'll never forget what Black Americans have had to go through in this country to even make it possible for us to sit here. So this is definitely a partnership, and we need to stop thinking that people are taking. All of us have a piece of a pie that we can take.
Right.
So the tension, I definitely feel and I see it, but it's up to us to try to rise above that and allow people to shine in their own light.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Well, when you think about people like Nchuguna Wagishuru, who is sitting in the audience, people like Julie C, people who have been working very hard to bridge the gap between these communities, and also, people who have created space for One Vibe to exist in Seattle. It's clear that there is hope. There is hope, and it's possible for us to work together. Yep. Now, this is a question that I'll extend to the audience too. Like I was saying earlier, I follow the work that you do, and I'm a huge fan. And I know that money is always an issue for entrepreneurs.
Yes. Yes.
You're a serial entrepreneur. What is a serial entrepreneur, by the way?
You're always in business. You're starting businesses.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually recommend that people do.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But I believe in being an expert at one thing and then moving to the next.
Yeah. Man, that's so much like me. Well, so let's say money is no problem.
Okay.
Would you now pay attention if you're in the audience? You have money. Oh man, Paul Allen just passed away.
Yes, he did.
With all that
God
money.
bless him.
Man, now you had all the money. Would you stay here or would you go back home?
Oh wow, I would definitely have multiple homes.
Oh.
So my dream is to have Seattle as my American home base, a desert home in Arizona. I will have a life in Europe, specifically Paris, France, and I also want to have a home in Lagos, Nigeria.
That is Karen Okonkwo.
That is, we're declaring. It's
going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
Solomon, the owner of Cafe Avole, where we are sitting right now, and Gavin and Kenju and myself, we meet here at least once a week. And sometimes we just dream, like this dinner that is bringing us together tonight. We talked about it for like 3 months. We did it in 2016, and it was really good. People got married from meeting here.
Wow.
People got jobs. So we were like, we should do this thing again.
Yeah.
And then eventually we were like, we have to do it. But we have no money, but we have to do it,
Yeah.
So we just started promoting it. We asked Mintua, do the flyers for us.
Right.
Man, there are stories that I can't even say on camera. Some of this happened yesterday.
I believe it. I know
we were scrambling to make this happen, because for me, a promise is a debt. If you promise people that you're going to do something, you have to do it, man. Yeah. So anyhow, you said that if you had all the money no problem, Paul Allen style, you'd be in Seattle, your first home, Arizona, desert home, Paris, and no home in Africa? Lagos. Okay. Nice. Now, who in the audience would like to respond to this question?
I'll go first.
Okay, Kenju.
So what's the question is, if I had all the money?
Yeah, if you had all the money,
big. Bring that money.
You will have them all in the money.
Do you have another camera that can capture the audience? Man, did you guys hear that this billionaire, the youngest billionaire in Africa, was abducted? He was just leaving the gym, in Tanzania, and then he was abducted, with foreigners, white people abducted him in Tanzania. This is so weird, So he's the youngest billionaire in Africa. He lives in his hometown, and then he leaves the gym in the morning. This is his routine. These people have been watching it. In Tanzania, people are always relaxed. And then before you know it, white people have abducted him. Maybe mercenaries or something like that. But he's been missing for almost 2 weeks now.
Are they looking for ransom?
No, people don't know yet. you know.
And then again, I gotta tell you, let's just be honest with each other. We're not running this clean business. There's always somebody coming after us for something we did to them. We don't know those details.
Yeah, yeah,
It's true.
yeah. Kenju, ready?
Save out all the money in the world. If I had all the money in the world, I'd build a very big castle in Africa and move there, help my village. Oh, and buy a house in Mercer Island just because it's Mercer Island.
Oh. Now, I wanted to first of all thank you for taking the time to support One Vibe, support Avole Night, and for the work you're doing. One last question. Let's say you are sitting with a group of young African girls here in Seattle.
Yes.
We have a lot of them.
Yes.
What would you tell them about how to start an entrepreneurial business like you're doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have so many things that I would say, and the general thing that I would share with people is before you start anything, you have to know your why.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm actually reading a book. It's called Start with the Why by Simon Sinek. And it is so far a wonderful book to help center you to understand that before you embark on anything, you need to know why you're doing it. And your why really is centered around your purpose. One of my mentors says that your why should make you cry. Sometimes we have a lot of exciting ideas and then we start them and they fizzle out. And they fizzle out because we were never passionate about it to begin with. We did not attach it to something bigger than ourselves. So if I were sitting here with any woman and a young girl, I would say, if you have an idea, make sure you know why you want to do it, because you're going to have high highs and low lows. But if it's strong enough, you will withstand that.
I think that's advice for me too.
Yeah. It's advice for everyone. You need to have a why.
Yeah, man. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the work that you're doing. You inspire me, and you help me to stay connected to my culture.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. Now, greetings, good people. This is Simon again with One Vibe Africa. We are at Cafe Avole for Avole Night. We just finished an amazing conversation with Karen Okonkwo from Tonol. Tonol, you have to. Now, we now want to have a quick conversation with our audience just to finalize Diaspora Connect, which is the program that we are sharing with you today. So in the audience we really have some amazing people. We have the creative director for Folklife Festival. Kaylee, are you there?
I am.
Perfect. And then we have special people from the African community. Kenya, Nigeria is represented, and the food we were having today is Ghanaian food. So we really have a Pan-African audience here tonight, and we are going to take questions and just have a dialogue for the next few minutes.
Catherine is my name, and my question is to Karen. How do you stay intentional in your days? How do you purpose to do the things that you want to do in day-to-day life?
Great question. So the question was, how do I stay intentional? And for me, I became intentional when I understood my why. And I know that for a lot of people that happens in different phases of their life. For me, it actually happened when I was 15 years old. I was actually involved in a car accident that unfortunately took the life of my friend. And of all the people in the car, someone died, a lot of people got injured, and I was the only one who walked away with a little scratch on my leg. And there were a lot of spiritual moments during the accident and things that happened after that made me realize that I was put here on this earth to help serve people. And so I've always looked through that light in everything that I do. So I actually wake up every day and I always tell myself, people are counting on you, literally. People are like, even if there's a day that I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go out, I don't want to talk, I don't want to do this, I always say people are counting on you. So really it's that mantra I say to myself that helps me to stay intentional, and just the story of my life when I realized my purpose.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Man, any other question?
Thanks, Cam. That was a very insightful and inspiring interview.
Thank you.
I was wondering, you spoke a little bit about tonal and getting a more diversified portfolio, a more diverse portfolio.
Yes.
And you did collaborate, I believe, with Joseph.
Joseph.
Who did you collaborate with? Because you were to make your portfolio.
Oh, Joshua.
Keith.
Yes, he's the photographer. Yeah.
What was the result of that? I think you didn't really expand on that.
Oh, yeah.
So you did collaborate with him.
Yeah, so we are business partners. So the question was, what came of me presenting the idea to him? What started off, he was turned off because stock photography is very corny and stale and homogeneous and just not very relatable. And so we made it into our own. And so as far as our responsibilities, we are very much partnership in the sense that he handles a lot of the creativity from photography standpoint. We also have 3 other photographers as well. And then I'm more on the business development and marketing side of things. But, he does have some business acumen. I do have a lot of creativity. So there's some overlap sometimes. Sometimes I'll creatively direct a photo shoot. Sometimes he'll handle a business meeting. So we really are like the left brain and the right brain, is what I tell people.
I was just going to add that in Kenya, when you read the newspapers, they're chock full of stock photos.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
And people do spend a lot of time reading newspapers in Kenya.
Yep.
Hours.
Yep, so
it's
true.
very interesting.
Yeah, once you hear about stock photography, it's almost like an aha moment. You're like, oh wait, every day that you go through life, you're seeing images. People are paying for those.
Right.
And so it makes you think, wow, that's so weird that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, yet they barely showcase people of color. So that's just a little piece of the pie that we decided to take.
So do you guys, on Tonal, do you guys have pictures and people can buy pictures from Tonal?
Yeah. So
Oh,
people
I see,
go on
I
there
see,
and
I
they can search whatever, they can type in, a keyword,
Yeah.
and then all the photos that go with that keyword pop up, and then you can buy them a la carte, or you can get a subscription if you know that you're frequently using images.
Yeah.
And we also have offline, more enterprise deals for
Yeah.
people who use it at a higher frequency.
Yeah. I'm always pitching for One Vibe. I have a great idea.
Thank you. We'll take it.
Now, we'll take 2 more questions from the audience.
I was gonna just add another one because I was actually looking for photos to use on my website.
Yeah.
I was designing the website for African fashion clothing. And I was looking all over the internet. I couldn't find any really good image to use on my website. And I was looking for stock photos to buy.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find a really good African photos with African designs.
Yeah.
Wearing African prints. So that's good.
Yeah, go to Tonal and then go to Tradition.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, please.
And what's your name, please?
Well, this is Dunia Mapenzi.
Excellent. Excellent. For the sake of our people watching, we just need to make sure we give them the names. By the way, the way I connected with Dunia is how he dresses up. He's always sharp, Even if you're meeting on Sundays, he's ready.
Yeah, I love that.
Anyhow, who is going to ask the last question, and then we'll wind up.
My name is Mulwa. My question is, as a serial entrepreneur, do you believe that we'll continue to just recreate your career choice and build new businesses, continue to build new businesses, or do you feel like you found your one business that you would like to focus on?
That's a good question. And what's so funny is that when I was sitting at the table, they say that you have over 30,000 thoughts a day. I think I probably have 100,000 thoughts. So even though I was engaging in conversation, I was thinking about how I want a Nigerian restaurant, I want a candy shop. So all of those require money, but I come in from a different angle. I believe that you should find that one business that is your asset. Not necessarily that you are totally madly in love with it, but it's a money machine for you. And then you take that money machine and you pour it into things that you really love and you're passionate about, that you wouldn't feel burdened by money. So there are plenty of wealthy people. I think one of them is called Dylan's Candy. I believe that that's Tommy Hilfiger's daughter. I mean, I'm not going to speak for them, but I imagine that that's pretty much one of those businesses where it was like, go ahead, go have a candy shop. Whether it's good or bad, don't really care. You know, it's free money. You know, so I would love to continue to spread my wealth in that capacity because I know that there's a need. I know there's a need for a Nigerian restaurant here. They keep opening and shutting down. Has anyone thought, why are these places shutting down? Maybe perhaps they don't own the building. What if I could have enough money to own the building, to be able to compensate people correctly, that Nigerian restaurant will be here for decades to come? So my idea is to make a cash cow and use that to create even more businesses. So yeah, I do want more businesses.
So you know what you're saying is really relevant to Avole night.
Yeah.
When we were meeting here with Kenju, Dunia, people are scared. People are like, we can't do this every Friday. And I'm like, no, we have to try, because the Chinese have a Chinese restaurant. It's operating every day.
Yep.
They even have
Every
Chinese
day.
town, Chinatown. You know, Thai restaurant, we eat there every day. You know, why not even an African dinner every Friday?
Yep.
What's wrong with that?
It can happen.
Why can't we try?
Yeah.
And then we did it the first time. We could not live here. We were here until late. We were like, this is great. This is important, you know.
Yeah.
And now we're here again. And next week we're going to be here.
Good.
And the following week we're going to be here. Then the week after that we're planning to start bringing it to companies, you know, where you guys work.
Yeah.
So before you leave tonight, make sure you leave Kenju with your email address. We want this to grow organically from you guys. You know, we want our audience to take this to.
Works.
You know, we are even willing to bring it to your churches, as long as we have these types of meaningful conversations, you know. So with that, I just want to say thank you again to you.
Thank
you know, I remember the way I originally knew you was your candy business.
Yeah, Party with a K.
Yeah, you know,
that's a party business.
I want to experience that one day. So we need to talk about how that can be a part of this story.
Yes, yes.
Man, you're a hustler. You're a real hustler.
Thank you.
You know, in Kenya,
love that.
our vice president is the hustler.
Yes.
He's super rich, you know. He's so crazy rich. You know,
Nigerians,
he has,
I tell you, Africans.
Man.
It's in our blood.
Yeah, anyhow. Thanks again, and thank you to all our audience members. Miguel, thank you for filming this again.
Yes.
Dunia, thank you for producing this. Kenju, thank you for everything you're doing. Cafe Avole, Gavin, Solomon Dubi, man, you know, the folks from Folk Life, Julie C and Kelly, man, thank you all very, very much. And remember, tonight, subscribe to One Vibe TV on YouTube so that you can watch last week's recording and you can watch this recording. And then by Monday, as you're driving to work, we are going to have the audio of this. So instead of just listening to the regular radio, you can listen to Karen, you can listen to your people, you know. Yeah. And share it, you know. We want people to listen to our voices. We don't want them to feel like, oh, you have an accent and this and that.
Yeah.
We want to make them get used to these accents. Yeah. See? Yeah, we'll make Siri get used to accents too. You know, sometimes I'm talking to sometimes I'm at home, I have two little girls and I talk to Alexa, you know. And Alexa is not listening, you know, until my girls come and they say, Daddy, it's okay. Alexa, stop.
I used to do that to my dad. Oh my God.
Have a nice evening, guys. We are truly grateful. All right.